Patrick Mahomes gets a historic payday restructuring. Patrick Mahomes restructured his contract $210.6 million between the years 2023 and 2026.
Petty. They so petty over there.
And guess what they say? They say we plan to revisit this after the 2026 season.
Well, obviously Joe Burrow was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL for what, 2 weeks?
For 48 hours.
For 48 hours.
Basically for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. That's why I called it petty. You know what they was doing. It was cool. He is worth every penny.
Every penny.
Man,
every penny.
Every penny and then some.
He underpaid, to be honest.
Underpaid.
He underpaid. That's my homeboy. Think about it. The man, every year he's been a starter, he has not at least advanced to the AFC Championship game. 3 of the 5 years as a starter, he's been in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yeah.
2 of the 5 years, he's won it. 2 of the 5 years, he's been the MVP. And you mean to tell me that somebody else is in the same stratosphere as him who can currently play it? Who can touch his resume?
Based on the resume that you just said, there's nobody active even close. There's
Not
nobody
even
active
close.
even close. But there is an individual that has made it fun. He's made it fun. He made the games exciting. He made the games fun. But in case in point on you saying he is worth every penny, every penny. And I think about brilliant minds and brilliant quarterbacks that are united as one, which creates dynasties. Regardless of the pieces that change offensively, in Kansas City, as long as that centerpiece and Mahomes is there, they're gonna always be great. As long as Andy Reid is there,
as long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Because that's what made Brady so great. What made Brady
and
great
Bill,
wasn't the
Bill.
fact. It wasn't the fact that they were winning. It was who he was winning with.
Because
he wouldn't have got the credit had he won a championship with Randy, or he would run a championship with a Julio, or guys that would the equivalent of. It was that he was taking the Edelmans, he was taking the Amendolas, he was taking the lesser tier guys. Now, and like you said, they're all NFL players, but when we think of them, we don't hold them, but they were perfect for that system. Because like you said, you played in New England. You didn't check your ego at the door. You left it at home because Bill said you might go back and get it when I turn my back. So leave your ego at home.
Yeah, that's a special place, man. That's a special place over there.
That place ain't for everybody, though, Ocho.
No, it ain't. It ain't for everybody, but it's a special place. And I tell the story all the time. People ask what it was like being, in New England.
The military.
Yeah, the military. I say, you ever seen Full Metal Jacket? The beginning of Full Metal Jacket. A classic. And that is the way their organization is run from top to bottom. And you check your ego at the door. Nobody has to explain what the Patriot way is, because when you walk in and you see how everything operates, you understand. You get in line. You already understand.
Yeah.
I remember when Moss. Complained about some contractually with the media?
Yeah, he wanted to rework his deal.
Wait, how long before he was gone?
He gone. He went back to I think, if I'm not mistaken, they traded him back to Minnesota. Then he had a disturbance there, and he ended up in Tennessee.
But he coming off a crazy season.
Yeah,
crazy season, putting up crazy work, and you said one thing and you out. Everybody expendable. So
you know why? Because the way Coach Belichick would always explain it, look at what the quarterback makes. Because Tom Brady always took less, they automatically expect everybody else to take less.
Right.
And if you didn't, you had to move on. Logan Mankins, a Ty Law, a Lawyer Malloy. You see Willie McGinnis move on. They look, Vince Wolford. I mean, they got no loyalty.
Right.
Coach Belichick, he treats everybody like it's college. Because in college after 4-5 years, you got to get
everybody expendable.
And you know that.
Except that one centerpiece.
Until he wrestled the power. Because the best thing that happened, because I thought I gave Coach Belichick, and I still give Coach Belichick some credit, because he had to get all the pieces to make sure they work. So he was responsible for the defense. He was responsible for bringing in the players for the offense. But it was Tom, because Tom was the guy that said everything's going to be okay. Yeah, I know Coach Belichick is riding you, but we going to win. Winning is the greatest deodorant. It's better than Band, than Mitchum, than Shure, all that.
Right.
Because it will hide anything that's possibly going on inside that locker room.
Yeah,
winning.
most definitely. And they were good at it. The Chiefs are obviously good at it, and they have that same dynamic. You know, what Andy Reid has and Patrick Mahomes together as one, regardless of what's going over there offensively, they gonna always make it work. They're gonna always make it work and always be in contention every single year. And
I think the thing that Andy does, but see, the reason why I like the way the Chiefs is because Andy says, I believe you can win and have fun.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe because the Patriots ran theirs like Gattaca. If you remember the movie Gattaca, everybody was dressed alike. Everybody had the dark on and you couldn't tell one guy. Everybody was robotic in what they said. And I'm like, bro, look, I won. I'm not saying I won to the level of the Patriots, but we won. Mike allowed us to have fun, but we knew when it was time to work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but to walk around there and give the same answers, bro. Where's the individuality? Where's the personality?
I mean, you can show it a little bit. There were a few personalities there.
Gronk,
but,
Gronk was the only one that was ever allowed to have a personality.
Yeah, Gronk was the real deal, man. It was one of the best ever, man. But hey,
sure.
that year there, man, unbelievable. Again, I always use the military as an example of what it felt like being there. But you understood right away when you walked in that building and you went to practice, you understood why they win constantly. You understood why it's 6 banners in that stadium. You understood right away. Right away.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Ocho. Because Coach Belichick has won so much, you believe everything that he tells you. Because Tom Brady has won so much, you believe that you're going to win. Remember, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Hoping to win versus expecting to win.
Right.
Tom Brady went on the field. You expected to win with him. I didn't give a damn who y'all got over there. Y'all could have TJ Watt, JJ Watt, Michael Parsons, and whoever else you want. But we got Tom Brady. There's a level of expectation when you play with a great quarterback. And remember, that's why when you and I were discussing the hardest position, he's the one guy that can swing the pendulum. You just said it, Patrick Mahomes. Don't matter what else going on outside the building. Doesn't matter what's going on inside the building. When you got that guy, you expect to win.
Right. Most definitely. The fact and the greatest example of what you just said as far as the pendulum swinging regards to where they go is him going from New England to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And not missing a beat and still winning a championship. You know how hard that is?
Yes.
That's the kind of stuff you do in video games. How
many times has it ever been done? I think Peyton was the first to do it, and then Tom followed up. Now there have been a lot of quarterbacks to move. Joe did it. I mean, obviously Johnny Unitas moved on, but Johnny was really, really old. He didn't do anything. He wasn't very good when he went to San Diego. Joe Namath, he moved on. He wasn't very good when he went. So there have been some. Joe Montana went to Kansas City when I was playing.
Right.
They didn't do it. So to win at one place and to go to another place and win. And, Peyton, not only did he win a Super Bowl, he won a league MVP, finished second 1 year, and then turn around and won it and still has the record with 55 touchdowns and over 5,400 yards passing in a season. So it's not easy. Tom Brady won so much is that people think playing quarterback and winning is easy in the NFL. And the hardest thing to do is to win a football game in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. And I think we critique these players right now in today's game based on the standard that we hold Tom and Peyton at. And that's not so what unfair. It is.
That's so unfair.
It's unfair, but that's what we do.
Right.
That's what we do. We want instant success. We want instant success. Not understanding how difficult the position is, especially when you have nothing to work with around you. That's like cooking your food without seasoning.
And remember, Tom sat his rookie year behind Drew Bledsoe. He didn't start till like the third or the fourth game.
Yep, until Drew got hurt. When Mo, what's his name? Mo
Lewis.
Mo Lewis.
Yeah. Tom Brady should send that man whatever. Tom Brady should buy that man a Rolls Royce.
He created a monster. He created a monster. There's no telling how that story would go without that hit.
You're absolutely right. Patrick Mahomes sat for an entire season. So they're but guys like Peyton, they threw him to the wolves.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
His rookie year was bad, man.
But what did they have? What did they have? Think about what Peyton had. Marvin Harrison, who's a 2-time Offensive Player of the Year and an MVP, a first ballot Hall of Famer, classmate going into the Hall of Fame. He had Marvin Harrison, who was a first ballot Hall of Famer, a guy that was on the All-Century team. So it wasn't like they gave him weapons.
Yeah.
And then guess what? When they traded Marvin, they ended up getting Edgerrin James. So they never left him with the cupboards bare. Now, he could manipulate because he was basically the offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And being around him in Denver and seeing the way he operates and the amount of time that he put into it, you could understand why he enjoyed the level of success that he does.
Right.
So I can just imagine how much time guys like a Tom Brady, like I said, have been around Peyton his last 3 to 4 years in the league in Denver, and to see him and to hear the stories about him, you can understand. But it's the end all be all. You have to have a partner that's very understanding, because they're probably the one that's taking the kid that's in the carpool line. They're the one that's taking the kids to the recital and the piano lessons and the football and the soccer practices, and they have to be okay with that. Now, there are going to be times like, hey, mama, I need you to tell me what's very, very important, what's important, what's very important. The very, 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 I'm going to make it. But the moderately important and the very important, baby, you're on your own on that one.
I like it. I like it.
Because Ocho, you don't have the level of success that Tom Brady and Peyton and these greats, because I've said this and people look at me like I'm crazy. The greater the player is, the more selfish that they are.
Well, you have to be. You have to be, because you can't be great at one thing and then balance other things. It's
no
impossible.
Balance. If you want to be great, there is no balance to greatness. Anybody that tells you they're balanced to greatness, they're lying. Look at the greatest of the greats. Now, I'm not talking about, well, Shannon, I'm good. Okay, fine. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with it. If you're okay with that, but that's not how the great of the greats, the Jordans, the LeBron, the Tiger Woods, the Serena Williams, the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady's, the great business people, that's not how they think.
You have to submerge yourself. You have to get lost in what you do. You have to get lost. It becomes your identity. It becomes everything. And the people around you suffer because of that.
Yes. Because I'll be the first to admit I was a terrible parent. I was. Because I was so it drove me crazy, because all I thought about was football. That's all I thought about. How could I get better? Some kid is in high school want my job. Some kid in college want my job.
Right.
I obsessed from the time I was about 11 or 12 when I really thought about going to the NFL. That's all I thought about. It consumed me. And I ruined relationships. No question about it, Ocho. I should have been married. No question in my mind.
Now there we go. We getting somewhere now.
I could have been married, but this is what I learned. Broke people, men, will lie to impress a woman. A rich man will lie to test a woman. You'll go broke chasing women, but you won't lose a woman chasing money.
Right.
So I had to balance that out.
Right. I like that. I like that.
But the most important woman that for me was Mary Porter. That was the most important. Nothing else mattered. Nothing mattered. So when people see, anybody that you can go back and ask anybody, they'll tell you point blank, the most important thing that Shannon Sharpe has always been his grandmother. To get her out of that environment, to get her out of that leaky house, to get her into some indoor plumbing, to get her into central heating and cooling. That was it. To see my grandmother, one of the greatest, my grandmother go fishing. You know, Ocho, me and my brother would give my grandmother, say, $5,000. And she would still send my sister to the grocery store and put groceries on credit. And she'd have $100 bill. Here, Libby, here go a piece of money.
Right.
A piece of money, Granny. You know, that's how old people. That's how old people talk about a piece of money.
Yeah,
she got $5,000. The bill is $100. She sent $25. She sent $50 up there. She wouldn't pay it off.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. What you mean you never know? You got 2 grandboys that's millionaires. And so that's what drove me, and that's probably why. And so now I'm trying to get to a place where, because now the most important thing that drives me is the work. It's work. It's to build Shay Media, to build, because you know what, Ocho? I was at CBS for 10 years, and it says okay. And then I was replaced. And I was with Undisputed for 7 years, and they said okay. And I was replaced. I said, you know what? I want to build something. Can't nobody replace me because this is my ish.
Yeah, it is. I like that.
And I said, you know what? I got Club Shay, but I want to do other things. And when you and I had this, and Doug, we went to lunch. I said, Ocho, we can do this. I said, look, you are a co-host. You're not a contributor. You're a co-host. We're in this together.
Yes, sir.
And you say, I like the sound of that. Let's do it.
I do. I like the sound of that. But also, with all this stuff you have going on, you got to have a partner. Remember, you preached to me. We talk about money. You said, when you have a funeral, is it bring trucks following?
No. But I'm the type of guy,
right?
I don't mind crying on a yacht alone.
No, that's not.
You know what I'm saying, Ocho? I don't mind boo-hooing on the private.
Listen,
this big old jet by myself. Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
We got to work on that, man. We got to work on that. We got to get somebody. We got to get somebody, man.
Right now, I'm like a month or 2 in with Shay Media, and it's going really well.
Yes, sir.
But there are other things that I want to do. I want to give other people an opportunity to be a part of this and to grow this. I have a great support staff, and you're right. Sometimes I think, but then I spring out of bed and hey, it is what it is, Ocho. You got to sacrifice.
It's not what it is. I mean, sometimes you got to sacrifice, but you need somebody. Listen, 80% of men.
Yeah, when they lead the league. But see, let me ask you a question.
They all by themselves.
You need to give some facts. Ocho, you say with 87% of the men that once they leave a professional sport
alone in nursing homes, alone, nobody checking on them, man. We got to get you together, man. We got to get you together.
But here's the thing, Ocho. I've never been one that's to succumb to society pressures. And I think a lot of times people get married or get into relationships because that's what society said they should do. Women said, well, society, back in the day, well, you should have a child by 25, or you should be married by this age, and you should do this.
Man, I don't succumb to that. No, man. Yeah.
Look. God is I've trusted him this far. Every time when people say, well, Shannon, God doesn't close the door without opening another. He will put someone in my life if and when that's time. But if it doesn't, Ocho, I'm going to be okay with that because I trust that he's leading me in the path that he wants me to go. Listen, I can't go against his will.
You're not going against his will, but you're not even trying.
How you know what I'm doing? I'm out here running 100 miles an hour.
Don't worry about it. I got you. By the time we get to, give me 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks. You're gonna be singing a different tune. 2 weeks, you're gonna be singing a different tune because this individual I have for you. I'm sure she texted you. You probably ignored it because you ain't know who it was. But I'm telling you, I got you.
I got a new phone number.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's why it went green when I text you. I thought you blocked me.
Not yet though.